Hello everyone, it's Devin, and welcome to another album review. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this new Weyes Blood album, Titanic Rising. Titanic Rising is the new studio album from Santa Monica singer-songwriter Natalie Meering, aka Weyes Blood. Under the Weyes Blood moniker, Natalie has been releasing music for about 8 years now across 3 other LPs. Natalie's music sits firmly in the genres of Baroque pop and art pop, and occasionally incorporates elements of dream pop and long song structures. Her compositions are dressed in layers of colorful pianos, strings, and watery synthesizers. Her mid-range singing voice is powerful and smoky. The tone of her voice is very warm, while remaining a little bit stern at the same time. Her vocal inflection reminds me a little bit of Victoria Legrand on a few of the earlier Beach House records. Throughout her discography, there has been a very distinct progression. With each new album, Natalie's music became bigger and better. She began to take a stronger vocal presence in her music, and the emotions she presented became so much more palpable over time. Her last album, 2016's Front Row Seat to Earth, was at the time her best yet. Her songwriting and lavish production sounded better than ever. That is, until the release of this new album, her 4th album, back in April, Titanic Rising. Titanic Rising is easily Natalie's most ambitious, touching, detailed, and just all-around amazing album yet. On this record, she doubles down on those 60s and early 70s Baroque pop vibes that have been a constant theme in her discography by arranging these incredible, complex orchestrations of strings, mandolins, backup singers, pianos, guitars, different bits of percussion, and more. And when I say this album is kind of a throwback to the sounds of 60s and early 70s Baroque pop, I mean in no way that this is an example of the kind of cheap nostalgia baiting that doesn't add anything to the sound of the era that we see so much of today. Titanic Rising is quite the opposite. It contains many of the hallmarks of 60s and 70s pop, but these stylings are assembled and arranged and recorded in a way that feels distinctly modern. These vintage ideas are rendered in crisp 2019 production. This album sounds so clear, it sounds so full, it sounds so fantastic. Additionally, the use of synthesizers and the album's unique, excellent aesthetic help to kind of separate it as well. The first side of this album is nothing but absolutely amazing song after amazing song. The first track here, A Lot's Gonna Change, is an absolutely sublime album opener that starts with some very understated pianos and singing before gradually building and then exploding into this huge climax that kind of sets the aesthetic tone for the record. It's really quite stunning. I also love the super sentimental lyrics on this track about taking the changes in life with stride and with the help of loved ones. This song, along with the beautiful synth-tinged Andromeda that follows it, set the album stage fantastically. Things start to get even more interesting on the delightful ode to 60s pop that is the third track here, Every Day. Every Day is a song with a chord progression that is so Sgt. Pepper's era Beatles. It's fantastic. More great melodies and a jovial, summery climax featuring da-da-da backup vocals and marching tambourines. It's a really amazing moment on the record. The next song, Something to Believe, is a track that I love even more than Every Day. The chorus on this song is so huge. It's like an auditory tidal wave, or better yet, like the Titanic actually gracefully rising back up from the sea. It's another totally inspiring and breathtakingly beautiful song. The production, the performances, the melodies are so good on this song. After that track, we get a nice, brief ambient interlude that closes off the first half of Titanic Rising quite nicely, but the second half of the album opens with what is easily my favorite track on the entire album, maybe my favorite song of the year so far, the track Movies. I don't know where to begin with this song other than that it is one of the most magnificent and exceedingly beautiful pieces of art pop I've heard this decade. Maybe the most exceedingly beautiful piece of art pop I have heard this decade. Movies begins with a synth arpeggio that wouldn't sound too out of place in like a Muse song. Natalie soon enters, crooning delicately and gracefully atop the synth arpeggios and atmospheric effects, all without any drums. The first minute of this song establishes a very delicate, fluid atmosphere, after which these utterly incredible vocal harmonies just come flooding in from every direction. The song only continues to build and build from there, gain more and more layers, until we hit the 4-minute mark, when everything drops out, making way for these rushing arcs of violin and marching drums pounding away in 3/4. What follows is something I can only describe as the single most beautiful minute and a half of music I have heard this year, and probably am going to hear this year. This song is magic. I really adore every single aspect of this song. The progression of it is incredible. The sound and the texture is so detailed, so deep and layered. I love the sentimental lyrics about watching movies as a child and now becoming the star of your own movies. Like I said before, it's a magical song. It's magic. From there, the second half of the album continues through another series of great songs and fantastic production choices, such as the glorious harmonized guitars on Mirror Forever or the crescendo on Wild Time, before closing out with the delightfully subdued Picture Me Better, and then another ambient interlude that mirrors the melodies we hear at the very beginning of the album. At the very beginning of the track, A Lot's Gonna Change, very nicely. Makes the album feel very whole and cohesive. And yeah, that's Titanic Rising. If you couldn't tell, I absolutely loved this album. I really did. I'm beyond impressed with every aspect of this record. The production and performances are all great front to back. Each song flows into the next so wonderfully. The structure of the album is so solid and cohesive, but it doesn't feel too uniform. Like, each song here has a few interesting or unique or novel bits of instrumentation or percussion or melody that help it to stand out from the other songs here. I also love the way Natalie has applied reverb to the songs on this album. Reverb is kind of a double-edged sword in modern music. It can be used to enhance an already beautiful piece of music, or it can be used as a crutch to make a subpar piece of music or a subpar performance sound prettier or more atmospheric than it really is, than it really should be. Titanic Rising definitely falls into the former category. I actually think the album's artwork, the cover art, is a fantastic summation of what the album sounds like. Natalie is completely submerged beneath these waters, but rather than drowning, she is in total control of her situation. She is simply at peace. And then there's the lyrics. I am absolutely in love with how pure these sentiments and emotions are throughout Titanic Rising. Just this wonderful, warm, nurturing tone comes through in everything Natalie sings here.
True love is making a comeback. We're only half of us, the rest just feedback.
Titanic Rising is really just one big, beautiful musical blanket. It's ambitious, it's meticulous, it's affectionate, it's easily one of the most flooringly beautiful musical experiences I've had in the 2010s. You know, maybe it can be a tiny bit repetitive because Natalie doesn't change her singing style all that much throughout the album, and the instrumental palette can occasionally run a little samey. But even if it's a little bit one note at times, it's such a good note to hit. So yeah, I recommend Titanic Rising. I think it's amazing. I think it's beautiful. It's just so good. It's really so good. For a score, I'm feeling like a 9.5 out of 10. This album is awesome. Why are you still watching this review? Go listen to the album. Stop watching me yammer. So that's gonna wrap up my thoughts on the new Weyes Blood album, Titanic Rising. Thank you so much for watching. yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. Yeah, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!